I've got my Time ADHX.
A very colorful Time setup.
Thank you. It is, and it's a custom painted, painted Time 2023 ADHX frame set. Let me give you the context first. Okay, so I think you're not so into Time. I love my Time.
No, I love Time, man. Okay. I love Time.
Okay, so I'll give you the context of when I bought it. Okay, because Time is or they kind of went through a few kind of different hands of ownership, and at the time they were going through some changes in terms of the lineup. When I first bought it, they had 3 frame sets. One, the Skylon,
yes,
which is their aero bike, which at the point in time was still rim brakes, actually, but it was a lovely frame set, and for anyone who loves,
it was so gorgeous looking. The carbon weave was amazing, and one of the lighter aero bikes of the era.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And of course, if you're a rim brake lover, then
that's me, man.
Then exactly, that would have been the frame for you. Right? Yeah. Well, now you got to go find one second hand, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now that I can finally afford it, right? I can.
So there was the aero bike.
Yep.
They had the Updoers, right? The ADH, which was the climbing bike, which was not that light from memory.
Yep.
And also quite an aggressive geometry. So it was the same as the Skylon.
Yep.
Right? So bit of a weird bike for what it was supposed to be. And then they had the ADHX, which is this bike.
Yep.
Which was at the time the gravel bike.
Yep.
Since then, they released 2 new frames, and then the whole positioning changed. Right. So they released the ADHX 45. Which fits 45 millimeter wheels.
Yep.
You can tell from the name.
Yeah.
And they also released the new Skylon, right, which is their first disc brake aero bike. I'm not going to go into it too much because I kind of sucked that I didn't get the aero frame, so I just didn't want to really read into it. But I think Mapdeck has he's pretty.
He's one well-connected fella.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he had an interview with the CEO, looked at the frame. So there's all that stuff was already out there. We won't go into the detail. So now with the ADHX 45 being released, this is actually the so-called all-road bike.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And also this is custom painted.
Yep.
So Time releases all, if not most,
raw
of their bikes in the raw paint job, and I think the pricing is basically the same.
Yep.
And I got it custom painted here, which was, if I think about how much I paid for the custom painting, a mistake. But now that I look at it and the pain that I have suffered from parting with my cash has subsided, I think certainly it's quite worthwhile.
I think 100% worthwhile, if you ask me, because the price to pay to be unique is always of a certain level, right? Like you have to be of a certain level in order to be unique.
Yeah. And this was done by our good friend T, who we talked about last time. He did a simpler job for you for Ivan's OSPW.
Yep. Did a couple more projects with him as well, but I think yours is one of the most outstanding one that he has helped us done so far.
Yep.
In terms of the wildness of the paint job, lah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not very creative because I took it from the Project One Madone paint job from a few years ago.
Yeah.
But still looks fantastic. The only thing is it's not, so the Madone, they use a chroming process, right? Yeah. Which apparently is quite poisonous, and people in Singapore don't want to, or most people in Singapore don't want to do that. But I think if you obviously have a lot of these frames done in one place and you have all of the permits and all of that, you can. So we're using a metallic paint job instead of the chrome paint job. Okay, so the frame itself is 1.2 kgs from memory, which is pretty heavy compared to some of the frames that we see this day and age, right? So your all-rounders, your SL8s, not even the S-Works, you're kind of,
sub 1K lah, sub 1 kg.
700, 800, probably 9. Okay, so just to be clear, 1.2 kgs is what it was measured at, okay? Yep. But when we're talking about some of the other frames, when we talk about 700, 800, that's what the claimed weight is, right? So if you start adding in some of the metal parts for the bottle cages and whatever else.
Of course.
It adds up a bit, right?
Yeah.
So still on the heavy side. I'd like to think that it's because it's meant to be a gravel bike, and so they put a bit more material in and all that stuff. But I don't know. But it's a comfortable bike. It's a great frame.
Geometry is great. I would assume it would really handle road vibrations very well.
Well, that I don't know because I have, and we'll get to this point, such wide.
But that I know because I've always gone from my 25 mil Super 6 Evo and then I'll hop back onto your bike once in a while. Like, we'll switch bikes and stuff, and I'll always think like, wow, dude, it's like riding on the clouds despite the way it handles. And there is a decent amount of stiffness in there with regards to how wide your tires are still. So it's always a nice contrast, and that's why it cancels a lot of the road vibrations. It's great. Yeah.
But my question for you is, when you built up the bike and you've seen all this stuff on YouTube, right? Like someone shoves a camera down or someone cuts a frame in half.
I got that little boroscope thing.
All that stuff. I mean, how is it finished in relation to some of the other frames that you've seen?
Well, there's so much to comment that. There's so much comment that I don't want to say. Recently, I just finished a couple more frames that the ballooning process was absolutely horrendous. Zero cleaning up. They just, and that's it. It's out of the factory. Time.
Different process, right?
Different process, absolutely. So internally, it's all really clean. I've been following them since my early days of cycling, and I've always loved how they, work their way around carbon. So much to comment about. So I think we can fill this in on one episode just for them, or like one little segment for them. But as of now, dude, they are the professionals at work when it comes to carbon. Yeah.
So, I mean, the quality is pretty good. I've seen one instance, I think, if I think back, there was one YouTuber, GC Performance, who I think had one issue with one of his customers' bikes in terms of how the fork was and just the facing of the like there was an issue with where the brakes went on, right? But I think that's quite rare. And then
one in a very blue moon, on a long while,
and then if if you're big into the YouTube cycling content space, you've got, I mean, I shudder to say his name because Hambini is quite a controversial personality, but Hambini obviously
he backs it up though. He backs it up with all the data you could ever need.
So he rates it. GC Performance had one issue, but then you've got all these other guys, Mapdeck, all these other guys who look at it and who I guess give me the assurance. And of course, you're the most important opinion in the room. Telling me it's good, so that makes me feel very happy despite the weight. So that's the frame. Reasonable geometry. I'm not very flexible. I've got a couple of spaces on there, but really no issues.
Looks good. Right? They really know how to design a frame. You got like 30 mils stack height. Still looks great. Right.
Yep. And
one thing not reasonable is the price though. You paid a pretty penny, right, for it.
If I recall correctly, it was 5,000. Whether it was USD or SGD, I can't remember, and I think that makes a pretty material difference. But no, they're not cheap. But again, I guess just to be unique and different and all that. So yes, you talked about the price of the frame, and then the custom paint job was $2,000. So that's quite expensive. But I mean, T really did a lot. I feel bad for him because I remember at the time I was quite angsty with him. There were certain parts where I went into his workshop and I nitpicked everything, right?
You were the only client, right, that went down more than twice.
But look, T did a great job and it turned out amazing. Only issue is now it's chipping a bit, and I'm thinking about kind of bringing it back for him to do a bit of a touch up.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a frame, great frame, love it, unique, different. You don't see that many times. Robust, fantastic. I can't comment on stiffness because I have never felt a frame that was not really stiff. I've ridden a titanium frame and I've ridden this, and so the only bike I've ever ridden where I felt like, oh, I see what they mean by stiffness is a foldable bike, right? And obviously that there is a difference there. But I'm really not very sensitive in terms of all that stuff.
So with regards to stiffness, even though your tire mutes a lot of the feedback that we get, it still punches. It's a great bike. I haven't been able to take your bike on the gravel. I mean, you did at Coney Island on one of the mornings we did, but I don't know if you can comment anything about it because you don't do a lot of graveling as well, right?
I mean, I've blocked all those memories from my mind because of all the times I've lost traction, which is why I don't do mountain bikes.
That is the most fun part about being on the dirt, losing traction.
No, thankfully not for me, because otherwise I'd have more bikes and then I'd be in a lot of trouble with my wife. So, okay, so that's the frame.